Welcome back in, guys. Trey Lowell here for the second time today, going live. I apologize. Earlier at 3 o'clock, I made a bozo mistake and completely jacked up the audio. So if anybody was tuning in then, a little bit of a knucklehead mistake, but thanks for stopping back in. That being said, tonight's conversation, honestly, just want to spend some time on my current actual live streaming setup, which for most of you guys out there, this is such a basic setup. And tonight, I just wanted to spend some time kind of walking you guys through a behind-the-scenes look at what I would consider a very cheap, efficient YouTube live stream setup. So, what are we even looking at, and what equipment are we even using today? So, let's go ahead and start with our main cam as we transition to it, and that is going to be an old iPhone 7 that I actually had collecting dust on a shelf. Honestly, I think I never turned it in for credit. So, here we are a few years later, and now we're using it within OBS, a free live streaming software, hooked up with my iPhone. And yeah, from what I can tell and what I can see, it looks pretty solid, especially for something that I used to not even use and now can put it to use for live streams. Now, why in the world am I even talking about live streaming? I do think years ago, live streaming was something that a lot of people were into when it first kind of hit Facebook, and Facebook's algorithm was really rewarding it. And now with COVID, I think a lot of people have had to kind of transition their business or the way they kind of deliver their material to their audience, or even people in general. So that kind of leads me down the path of why I'm currently here using OBS with a bunch of iPhones. Honestly, it's just because I think it's a new skill that I needed to learn, and there's no better place to learn something than YouTube, and then also experiment with it. So with this wide shot, we are looking at two iPhones. We got an iPhone 7 from years ago. We've got my current iPhone 8, which is the wide shot. And then if I flip to my overhead camera, I actually have a YouTube or a webcam. I'm sorry, that was ridiculous. Not a YouTube cam, a webcam. Now, this is old school, but it comes in handy, and I've found to mount it overhead has been pretty easy. And I'll flip to that wide shot to show you guys. It is right up here, and I don't know, it's easy, it's out of the way, and it's a unique kind of angle I think that's nice to have, to be able to flick back and forth between, to kind of get an understanding of like my work environment here from a bird's eye view. Also, as you guys can see, we've got the Panasonic GH5 sitting next to me, and that is more so for a conversation later in the live stream. Currently just spending a lot of time here talking about a cheap setup that most of you guys could get up and running probably by the end of the night, and with a few couple of trials and errors, you could probably get a pretty good product. So, 2 iPhones, OBS running on the MacBook, which will also run on Windows, and yeah, they're all going into a bunch of USB ports that are over here. I got like a USB bank running into the MacBook, and then for our audio solution, we actually have the Rode NT USB microphone, which is a solid option, I think, for a lot of podcasts and things of that nature. It has auto gain, so if I get way too close and get too hot on it, it's going to kind of work its magic and fix that. And then on top of that, I'm able to currently monitor my audio. Now, that leads me to one other thing, and the mistake that I made earlier, which I apologized for, is that because I was too busy monitoring myself, I never even looked at the stupid live stream to find out if I had audio or not. But this go around, we've got audio, we are good to go. And now back to our main shot, which is our iPhone 7. The one thing that I can say in regards to OBS, it being its free software, and I'll make sure when I put the video up and make it public later that you guys will have access to it in regards to going ahead, and there'll be a link in the description of where you can download OBS for free. Like I said, you can also, if you don't have a smartphone, which I think the vast majority of you do, or you couldn't use it, you can also just use your webcam, which at this point, if you're just going to be using your webcam, which we currently are, I don't know if OBS is going to be an option that you would want to use, other than the fact that it would let you bring in like lower thirds and things of that nature, and I guess it would just give you a little bit more of an advantage than other softwares, but I think the main thing in regards to OBS is just being able to take advantage of lower thirds, transitions. I'm even experimenting with currently trying to bring someone in from Skype or even Zoom. I think that'll be the next kind of step in this whole kind of live stream process. Overall, the reason I even do these videos is, one, to get feedback from you guys of what you think. Is it professional? Is it working? Two, I need to work out kinks. I need to find out, did I remember to turn on the audio? Did I get the color correction right? Is there lag in the cameras? I did a live stream about 2 weeks ago, and the one thing that came out of that was many of you kind of made it very clear to me that the GH5 was not running in the kind of bootleg way that I was trying to do. So, these live streams are just a chance to honestly get free feedback from people, and I will say you need to be open to, harsh feedback if you don't perform. And that's why I kind of criticized myself in my bozo mistake earlier. The fact that I didn't have any audio was just super amateur, and rightly so. If somebody wanted to bust my chops, I'd say go ahead. And that's why I'm back here again tonight, is to kind of make sure that, I worked out the kinks, because I can't end the night on failure, so it only makes sense to fire the cameras back up and start rocking and rolling again. Now, that being said, you never know what can even happen when you start doing different videos and you start goofing around with live streams. You might come up with a new format, or you might find out that this is an awful thing, but you never know until you experiment. So, most of the tonight spent within OBS, all iPhones, one webcam. If you've got any questions, I am more than happy to answer any of them. Drop them in the comment section below. Just trying to spend some time getting more comfortable in regards to being on camera live, also getting more comfortable with operating OBS by myself as a one-man band. I do think that as I move forward, and probably for the next live streams, I do have some goals in regards to, ideally, I'd like to have some more lower thirds, possibly even on the right and left hand, some kind of bar that maybe gives the audience a little bit of a heads up of like what we're talking about, what we're going to be talking about, and kind of the format of the live stream evening per se. Blah, what a tongue twister. I don't know how I screwed up on that one. But those are kind of future things that I've been thinking about, especially after goofing around all day today in regards to live streaming. And I think it's just something that can be a quick, easy product. It also gives me an opportunity to talk directly to you guys answer questions, get harassed by you, get bullied by you, whatever you want to say. It doesn't even really matter, because at the end of the day, this is one big experiment, and for any of you guys to be a part of it, I do really appreciate that. Other things, as we kind of, like I've covered, OBS to do all this, iPhone's webcam, but what would I do if I had a bigger budget? And so I've been looking around in regards to options, and I've had some experience in the past with streaming, actually with my Canon 5D and the Panasonic GH4, never with the Panasonic GH5, but doing my research, and I think the product that I have my eye on is going to be a Blackmagic mini studio recorder. In a nutshell, it is an item that is about the size of this. I don't know if any of you guys can see it. Hopefully you can. And it's basically going to have an HDMI port in, and it's going to have a Thunderbolt out. It's also going to have an SDI in and SDI out. But for the case of the GH5, I am basically going to be, and let's flip to that overhead cam. That's why we have it. I'm basically going to be taking that Blackmagic recorder, and let's imagine we had an HDMI into the GH5. HDMI is going to come out of it. It's going to go into our Blackmagic mini recorder, HDMI's input, and then out of that, it's going to have a Thunderbolt out port, which basically I'm going to then have my Thunderbolt cable come out of that Blackmagic mini recorder and go directly into the side of my computer, which is then going to give me the ability to rock and roll with the big boy camera. Now, the reason that a camera like the Panasonic GH5 is going to be valuable when it comes to live streaming, honestly, is just going to be quality. As far as recording, you can be recording simultaneously. I have some AC power, so I could basically run this endlessly. It's also going to give me the ability to do some nice zooming if need be, and then at the same time, it's just going to be a lot better quality, and if I want, the double whammy is being able to take in some audio as well within the GH5. So if I'm going to kind of like beef up my current situation, I think my next purchase would be the Blackmagic mini studio recorder or something. I hope I didn't butcher that. But for $150, I can basically take my sweet mirrorless camera and we can start getting some better footage in our lives and even collecting that audio, which kind of in a nutshell makes me more think along the lines of a service or a product that could be offered to others. I definitely want to make my live streams as good as possible, but if you can offer that as a service, that's a win-win too. Hey guys, I see that there's a few more of you in here. Thanks for joining. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, what are we even doing in here? Go ahead and drop a comment in the comment section below. But cheers. Pretty much just talking about OBS as my live streaming software. We're talking about using iPhones as cameras for many of those that don't want to break the bank off the bat. And I've got an iPhone 7 running as my main shot, as my wide shot that I can flip to real quick for you guys. I've got my iPhone 8, really just to give you guys a behind the scenes look at that is going to be our main shot. Super simple on a tripod. We are way back there with the iPhone 8, and then I've got my Bobo webcam above us, but this gives us plenty angles, and I think it's a useful kind of setup for people that might want to be live streaming. So back to that main shot. A lot of talking. I need a drink of beer. Okay, so, live streaming, I think, is something that rather than spending all your money on the front end, I do think it would be wise to watch a video like this, go on YouTube, do your research, and experiment with going live a few times on your own. You can do it private, do it unlisted, do it publicly, it doesn't matter, but really get a feel for, are you good in a live situation or environment? Does the quality and the audio sound good enough? Because kind of like my motto or my theme in regards to my channel is I don't want people to go all in on something and invest in something that inevitably maybe a month down the road they have really no interest in. And that's kind of why it leads me to the conclusion of just starting with the bare minimum, and that's why I leaned on the iPhones. I know that you can use GoPros. I did not have much luck with my GoPro Hero 5, and I also have an Unreal 4K, its native new model. And I'll be honest with you, I could not get it to actually, I could get OBS to detect the actual camera, but when I decided to go into kind of PC mode where the camera would actually take over the on-reel, I had no luck. So that's a little bit of a disappointment in regards to giving you guys an example of a action cam being used as a live stream camera. Drop a comment in the comment section below if you're able to use a GoPro, or maybe even use that into your workflow. I would just be interested to hear what you think, and what is the quality overall. Other than talking about frickin' live streaming, the main reason that eventually I want this to be rocking and rolling is to be able to talk about the high-end cameras, the Panasonic GH5, glass, speed boosters, editing, you name it. And I think the goal would to also be able to eventually maybe even do some live editing where I can do some screen capturing and give you guys an exact look at maybe how I would approach something or how I would tackle a certain environment or situation. One video that I recently did for a client, and I'm super excited about it, is an education video, but the reason that I was more pumped about it was because it was done on a full white backdrop, and I never had the opportunity to film in a room that was completely white. It even had the kind of whatever smooth wall so that you didn't get any edges. And I learned a few things, and I kind of wanted to share that with you guys in regards to some do's, some don'ts, and some things that I learned, tricks of the trade, that I think could really help many people in their workflow. If you guys have any specific questions in regards to, editing, shooting, camera gear, mirrorless cameras, full frame cameras, you name it, feel free to drop a comment in the comment section below. I'd love to just give you my 2 cents in regards to what I think about cameras, you name it. Whew. Oh, we have been going live for about 17 minutes now, which is not too bad. And I do feel like, as far as the camera setup goes here, it does seem to work. And that overhead shot is just nice. I think I'd probably need to work with the actual colors itself. I did brighten it up a little bit because it was a little on the dark side, but that's kind of, I think, what you're going to get from a lot of webcams is like, it's probably most likely going to crush your darks, and it's going to have a hard time even handling a lot of highlights, especially considering I'm using this white table, which probably is making it completely wig out. But let's talk about this wide shot. And man, I'll be honest with you, it just works. And, other than probably punching it in a little bit, which I could do for you guys, we'll actually go into our main shot, chill here for a second. We're going to actually do some work on this wide shot, bring it in just a smidge. Boop, 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 boop. Okay. We'll go a little bit more in with that wide shot so you guys can see the setup. And yep, just cropped in that wide. So that also gives you an example of where you could pretty much take OBS, and I have several scenes right here if I want. What I did is I just manipulated the actual wide shot scene by just scaling in, but it does give you many options of where I could have so many different scenes that I could take each of these 3 cameras and I could have 2 different scale kind of versions of them that would inevitably make them look like different camera angles. So it just goes to show you that with enough time and effort, you could pretty much set up OBS with like 2 to 3 cameras, you could end up with like 6 or 7 different shots and really just entertain your audience and keep kind of the pace and the movement going. And I think that's what is unique about live streaming. And like I said, as far as the future goes, would be just more things going on to entertain you guys. I love talking, and that's great, but I think interaction is what's going to be key. So, more so sidebars, things of that nature. Also, experimenting with bringing you guys in from Skype or Zoom. That's probably in the near future. I've got a couple of buddies that run some YouTube channels, particularly one guy that I'd love to have, and he is experimenting with Discord and having a ton of success. And I'll be honest with you, I have no idea really what Discord is. I do know that it's, pretty popular, and he's getting some pretty solid numbers these days in regards to his Discord numbers. So that's kind of the future overall in regards to this live stream. And, iPhones. I know that many of you probably either have an iPhone or a smartphone, which makes my overall reason for doing this video 100%, just there's no reason not to go live. Every single one of you have a YouTube channel or could make one. And I think it's put yourself out there, see what happens. I did a video earlier today that completely had no audio on the front end. And so that's why we're back here again. That's why I needed a beer. And, I think that going from the very first one of these now to this one to, a few months from now, they are going to be drastically different. And I think the unique thing is that my goal with these is to each time one thing better. And if I can just keep doing that, I just know that, give it a year and these videos will be pretty solid. The performance will be there. The audio will be there. There will be no blips. Well, there will always be blips and you have to be willing to accept that. But the overall final product will be something I'd be extremely proud of. And so that's kind of why I even do these videos, why I'm doing live streaming. And I think in a time like now, learning a new skill set, experimenting with something, putting yourself out there, following something that you find interesting, that you're really into, I think now's a perfect time for that. And I think that is a perfect note to end on, as well as cheersing to many of you guys out there. Boom. Thank you for joining the live stream. I apologize for 2 of them in a row today. I did not want to end my day on failure in regards to that first live stream, so 2 was the magic number, and I think we got it right this time. But hey guys, it's Trey Lowell with Lowell Productions. As always, if you like this video, go ahead and hit that like button. If you like the content I keep creating on this channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys in the next video. Cheers. Time to drink. Keep it running for a second. Oh, Jesse. Oh, I'm not getting off now. Are you serious? Haha. Quack. Give me some visual feedback. How's this thing looking and sounding? All iPhones. I know you'll give me honest feedback. It's hilarious because I actually was even just thinking about you in regards to Discord. I'm not doing any of that, but the quack, quack, quack. How is this setup looking? How is the setup? All right, so now at this point, I got somebody to chat with, which is hilarious. I apologize. Looks and sounds really good. What do you think of... We got a main shot. Heyo. Boom. I think this looks great. Okay, and then we've got some overhead. How about that? Boom. How are you streaming? The camera changes smooth. How are you streaming? For Quackalope. Okay, me and this guy are going to be nerding out for a little bit, so I apologize for many of you guys, but for others, go check out Quackalope right now on YouTube. Please stay in the stream, but also go check out Quackalope when this stream's over. Dude's channel is baller, and this is my buddy and partner in crime in regards to YouTube. If anything, he'd be the guy that I kind of look up to in YouTube currently, and I think Jesse's floating at roughly... I don't stream the Quack just in Discord with OBS. Oh, wow. Oh, gotcha. Huh, interesting. But yeah, go check out Jesse's channel. Love the content. Totally different than kind of what I'm doing over here at Lowell Productions, but Jesse and I have worked together over the past few years. Not with cameras, though. And super talented dude. What he's doing over in the board game industry is, I think, top-notch. And there's no reason, or there's a total understanding of why his channel is just exploding. And yeah, he and I get to team up occasionally. We get to shoot some videos and things of that nature. It says just screen capture and Skype interviews. Dude, you need to try even using your iPhones like I've got the iPhone set up. But just screen capture and Skype interviews. Interesting. I'm going to have to try Skype interviews with OBS. Are you Skyping with OBS? Skype. Are you Skyping? This is looking great, man. Are you Skyping with OBS, though? I'm going to need to bring Jesse in on one of these. I think that would be baller. All right, we are 25 minutes into this, and to be honest with you, I'm going to end up nerding out with this guy, so I apologize for any of you guys out there getting stuck into this conversation. But, Jesse, great to have you in the live stream. For all of those that joined, I really do appreciate it. And overall, guys, this is an experiment. This is an adventure, a journey that many of you are along for the ride, and I really appreciate it. And cheers. I thought I was going to have 3 strikes and I was out today, especially if this live stream ended up busted. I was going to have to quit these things, but that's it. I'm out. Nah, just recording, Discord page, just screen cap. All right, buddy. I am out. All of you, good night. Thanks for joining the live stream. I will see you guys in the next video.